All right, guys, as someone who has made multiple six figures with copywriting, I'm going to show you how I use AI, how I recommend you use AI, and some of the do's and don'ts and cool tools that I've found. So whether you're a school community owner or you are a copywriter yourself, this should be pretty cool. And I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see this little diagram I made. I don't have a ton here to present, to be honest, but less is more. So, all right, let me get this into frame. So these are just the main ways that I use AI, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how I don't use it in a minute, but for you guys that just want to know how I use it, this is what I use it for. So number one is market research. That's probably the biggest thing, or the biggest time saver that I use AI for, because you can spend a lot of time getting lost in like research and stuff, trying to figure out what's relevant. And if you're sourcing, like, let's say you need articles or you need to know the trends or the data on something, you can really easily prompt AI to give you that. Now, when you're doing market research for a client that you need to write an email and really relate it to the audience and really use their language and their problems, that's when I would suggest you actually go and read the comments, read the stuff that like AI can't give you. Go into your client's social media, go and look at what people are asking, look at the excuses they have, because you want to know the problem that they're solving. Or if you're a community owner, this is your own client's problems, you should know those really well. You cannot use AI to do that for you, and you shouldn't. And like, you shouldn't be trying to condense that. You should just put the time in to actually know your audience. It's a really, really like fundamental piece of owning a business. So if you're a copywriter, that's on you. You gotta go and figure out what the audience actually wants, and then that'll give you a lot of context to write about. So the next thing I use it for is summarizing video content. So like most of my clients, actually all of my clients, create YouTube content, long form YouTube content. And I would say a lot of copywriters watching this video and a lot of like course creators watching this video probably also create content. So, or your clients create content if you're a copywriter. And so that gives you a ton of information that you can write on. Like if you have a client who's made even just a couple hours of YouTube videos, you can use that not just for like actual ideas to write about, but also to learn how your client talks, to learn the verbiage they use, the way they speak, like they're, you know, kind of like the weird ways that they use grammar, or like maybe they don't speak correctly, and like you want to incorporate that into your emails or into your VSL or into the actual like scripts that you're writing, because otherwise it's going to be really obvious that it's ghostwritten, and that's nobody's goal, I don't think. So yeah, I always like to do that. I watch a ton of content. So like one of my biggest clients, I watch every single piece of content he puts out, but before I even wrote any of his content, like I write his emails, I write his school posts, I write his Instagram content. Before I wrote any of that, I also write like his, like all of his like his welcome sequence and his sales page copy. But before I did any of that, before I even like brought him on as a client, I went and watched every single video he had ever posted. And a lot of copywriters will be like, oh, that's such a time-consuming thing, whatever. Yes, unless you can use AI to like summarize the stuff and actually give you the stuff to write about. So I like to actually watch the content from just like a conversational standpoint to know how like my client thinks and how they speak. But then I also usually, as I'm watching the video, like I'll have it play in the background, I grab the link, I put it into like a free transcriber. There's like a million things. If you search like YouTube transcriber, you can find like a bunch of different websites that transcribe YouTube videos. I'll grab that transcription, put it into ChatGPT. That's like my main like model that I use. And I will just ask it to find like the highlights of the video, and I'll give it a prompt that basically allows it to go and extract the stuff that's super relevant to the audience and some key talking points, and then I can use those to create usually a few posts, honestly. Like it's usually more than one, but at the very least one. So I use that to just like do that really quickly instead of trying to take notes while I watch YouTube videos, because I usually watch YouTube videos, to be honest, like while I'm eating something, and I'm watching them so I can get inside my client's head. And then I'm transcribing the video so I can actually write copy about it. So that's one thing. Summarize video content. All of these things are totally free, by the way. So like you can go and get a, like there's one, I think it's like NoteGBT. There's another just like, I think it's just called like YouTube Transcriber. These are free things. You just transcribe the video, take the transcript, put it in ChatGPT, and ask it to extract like the key talking points. You can also, and I haven't had like as good of luck with this, but it does work to a degree to give you some context. But you can ask it for like the speaking style of the client, like what are common phrases, what are common words, like things like that are really easy for ChatGPT to go and extract. So that's helpful. And then I use it to outline posts. So we're at number 3 here. outlining posts is a bit more prompt heavy, like when it comes to the actual prompt engineering, because you need to like not just give AI the actual context, like let's say it's a YouTube video, but you need to give it context on the audience, the subject, the speaker, the tonality, the type of post, the goal of the post, the length of the post, the main talking points, and all of those things. And then once you do that, you can have it outline a post. And then that outline will help you write the actual copy. So that's another thing that I'll have it do. And if you guys want to like see some of my posts, like, or some of my prompts, I have like a whole document, so just like comment below. I'm not going to give them all away for free because that's what I write my copy with, so they're really valuable to me. But definitely down to give some of them and give the frameworks, and then you guys can write your own. And the next thing is scan for red flags. So after you write this email or you write this post or this Facebook ad, there's a set of guidelines that it has to comply with, right? If it's a Facebook ad, there's a set of guidelines for that. If it's an email, there's a set of guidelines for that. So mostly I use this for emails. I use this website called Mail Meteor. I'm not sponsored, it's totally free, but mailmeteor.com-spam checker. And I'll just copy paste the emails that I've written into there so that I can check them all for like flag words. Because if you're sending out emails to a big list and they've got, actually any size list, and they've got like flag words like call, that's a flag word, dollar signs get flagged. There's a lot of different things you want to be careful, because that's going to really damage your sending ability. And if you damage your domain, you damage your deliverability, then like you're screwed. You have to start over. You've got to basically go buy a new domain, warm it up, and go through that whole process that can take like months. So you don't want to do that. Just scan for the red flag words. Make sure you're not sending, crazy scammy words like get this now, or here's this crazy deal, buy it now. Like if you use like words like deal, buy now, just the word now, or even the word all like gets flagged. Like there's so many words you wouldn't know, but when you go and you read it and then you actually replace those words, sometimes it actually becomes better because you realize those words are so overused in copy that like subconsciously they do kind of scream like salesy pitch. And so I found that like I'll put emails into that spam checker and I get really annoyed because it'll give me like 15 different words that it flags, and it's like, oh, you're gonna land at the spam tab, and I'm like, ugh, whatever. But I'll go and replace those words, and I'll find some similes, just Google search similes for whatever words flagged, and swap them out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this email sounds so much more unique now because it's not just using these overused salesy words. And so like for an example, I have clients that like send a lot of book a call email outs. It's just like a call or a link to a call in the email, and that's the CTA. And instead of calling it a call, we just call it a strategy session because that doesn't get flagged, and it's the same thing. So yeah, that's a big thing. Another thing is like having your copy help you with like the actual flow, or having AI help you with the actual flow of your copy. And so you can take a piece of copy you've written by hand, put it into AI and be like, is there any spots where like it feels like I jump from subject to subject, or is there a way that I can bridge between these two topics better, or transition into the pitch better? And that's really good to get feedback, but I wouldn't take what AI writes for you because it will write you a version and that's probably not going to be good. But I would take the feedback, get some ideas from it, hopefully get inspired, and then you go and write it yourself. It gets dangerous when you actually take the copy that AI writes and you use that, because AI will use a lot of the flag words unless you really prompt it against using those. It will use overused phrases like picture this. It's very easy to spot. It's great if you allow it to outline and then you go and you rewrite it. But if you have AI writing your copy, I'm going to get into that in a minute, so I won't go too deep into it. But basically, what I'm saying with this thing is identify lack of flow. So I use ChatGPT to identify the lack of flow, and I'll put an email in if I feel like I'm struggling with the transition from the lesson to the pitch or whatever, and I'll ask it, how would you bridge this better? What are some things that maybe I could tell, or some stories I could paint around this to make it transition more like fluidly? And then the final thing, and this is a really valuable thing, is I use it to templatize copy. So if I have a piece of copy that performs really, really well, like a welcome sequence email or a webinar or whatever that performs like insanely well, then I take that piece of copy, put it into AI, and I ask it to templatize it for any niche so I can use it for future clients. And that is so valuable. And like I probably I don't think there's anything I protect more than like those templates. Like my templates for clients, I protect with my life, because obviously they would lose their effectiveness if I were to just like, share them. But that's something that you can create. As soon as you have like data on a post that's performing well, templatize that and save that so you can use it on future posts, because there's a reason it performed well. It's probably something that really resonates with the audience. The hook is really good, or the flow of the copy is really good, the storytelling, and you can templatize that and then just customize it for future posts. So that is like huge. These are the main tools. So again, it's just like market research, helping me kind of find like trends and data, and obviously ChatGPT it can go and do research. It can actually give you the sites that it finds the data from, so you want to go and verify that, and you can cite sources. Like I used this for a webinar recently for Max Pearson, where I was talking about the market trends and how much the info market is growing right now, and I was able to go and find the exact numbers and the years and stuff, and like the predictions that economists are making about where the info market is going to be in 5 years, because he sells an info product. And that was really valuable to put in the webinar. It just created a lot of like natural urgency. Again, summarizing video content, that's just going to save you time. Outlining posts, that again saves you time. Scanning for red flags, that's going to help you with your email deliverability. Identifying lack of flow, that's going to help you get more people to the CTA and ultimately just have better performing copy. And then templatizing is going to allow you to basically monetize anytime you have a really good piece of copy. Use that for the future. You could also templatize it and sell it, I guess. But this is why I don't use AI for most of my copy. So while it has some really great tools and it can definitely like save you time, like I just said, it should never replace you as a writer, because the most successful copywriters, if you look at any of them, are still writing by hand. The people that are using AI to write their copy, their views are sinking, their emails aren't performing, they're getting flagged by Gmail and whatnot. And so there's a lot of copywriters, I think, on YouTube right now that are selling AI because it sounds easy. It's like, oh, just become an AI copywriter. But the truth is, like, if you're an AI copywriter, you're just reusing other people's ideas right now, as it stands. So AI is not developing original ideas. It's not like coming up with this really unique hook. It's just reusing stuff that's worked 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever. And good copy requires you to actually have a unique angle, have insights, have emotional resonance. And I'm going to get into it in this next slide, but AI can't use visual language. That's what I found is the biggest flaw, is like the speaking style. I've tried every prompt. I've tried like prompts that are pages long. It cannot speak with visual language. It'll say something so generic, like picture this. And it's really frustrating, but that's the thing, is like you're using a machine that's basing all of its like context on people that, have already written the copy, so it's not unique. And it'll often just like misread the context, doesn't create any type of a visual connection, because it doesn't really know the reader. And so you can give it all this context on the reader, but it can't relate to the reader in a human way. So maybe one day it will be able to, but right now it can't. So yeah, authentic voice and emotional connection, that's kind of like what we just talked about. But yeah, ultimately, like the actual copy has to create some kind of emotional connection with the reader, whether it's excitement, frustration, sadness, happiness, ambition, whatever it is, whatever emotion you're trying to invoke, you have to be able to get readers to that emotional high point by the CTA so that they actually take action. They crave that, like the funniness, the personality, the difference in how you write. That's why they're going to read your emails over all the other distractions in their life. If you sound like everyone else, there's absolutely no reason that they're going to read your email over the million other distractions that are pulling at their life right now. So like they've got friends sending them Instagram reels, they've got their mom calling them, they've got, TV on the screen, they've got the radio station on, they've got all these different notifications coming in, they've got their work emails, all this stuff. And if you want them to actually read your email, you have to be different. And that's like, there's some people that do this really well, but the majority of emails I get into my inbox are so generic. They're just the same. And I can tell that they're using AI, and I don't read them because they suck. I only read the emails where I can tell that they're written by a human. So maybe one day you won't be able to tell, but I think if I was to make a prediction, the value of human copywriters is going up right now. So that's just my prediction. These are some random clients I threw in here that I generated a ton of revenue for. By the end of the month, this guy Michael, he had generated $45,000 with a brand new school community, and this woman Atina had generated $315,000. And all of that was using handwritten copy. I didn't use a single piece of AI. But the reason this is really funny is this woman here at the top, Atina, the thing I was writing copy for was an AI marketing software that wrote your copy for you. And yet, she created this software. She did all the prompt engineering, built it out, made it sound like the best thing in the world. And no hate to her. I mean, she built a cool product, but she still hired me and paid me $13,000 that month to write copy for her because her copy wasn't selling, her ads weren't performing, it wasn't working. She needed someone to actually have a human touch, someone that knew the nuances of different platforms, that could actually connect with the audience. And that's why she paid me $13,000, and it made her $315,000. So it was a pretty good trade-off. But that's just I think that's really funny to see, because it's literally like one of those softwares that claims to write your copy for you, and yet she needed a human copywriter. So that's proof of concept. And how do you catch attention? With this whole, that's the whole point I was making before, is with the world we live in right now and the million different things that are pulling out our attention, you have to have a unique hook. That's the key. And the more companies using AI tools, the more this content and these hooks are going to get reused and reused and reused, and the more they're all just going to become homogenized. They're all going to sound the same. So that's the fundamental thing right now with AI copy. And the goal right now should be to write copy that resonates with the audience. This is another example of a client I helped generate actually over 6 figures for. And you'll see that the top performing marketers right now are using AI, but they're using it as a tool to make the writing process faster, but they're still doing the writing. And so, yeah, ultimately, if you're trying to win people's attention, you're trying to catch their eye and ultimately earn their business, you need to actually speak in a way that the audience feels like you're a friend, they actually trust you. And so to do that, you need to actually be real, which is a pretty simple concept, but I think it's what a lot of copywriters and marketers right now are missing, and they're worried that AI is coming for their job, but in reality, it's increasing your value in the marketplace. And so as long as you actually know how to use these tools and you're not just stuck in a corner trying to just do everything by hand, that will decrease your value if you do that. But so long as you're actually using these tools and you're using AI, you're going to be the most valuable marketer out there, because you're staying up to date with the trends, but you also have a skill set that a very small percentage of people have, to actually be able to write copy that's unique. So you're creating the copy that all the AI and stuff is going to go and base its copywriting off of. You're setting those trends because AI is just reusing that. It's going to go and look for the patterns and look for what's performing. But if you want to have the highest return, you want to be the person creating that copy, creating that unique hook that's performing. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful. And yeah, I'm opening up some call spots, which I haven't done in a while. So if you guys want to book a call, if you're a copywriter or a school community owner, I haven't done this in about almost a year now, actually done any consulting or coaching. So if you are looking for help with your copywriting or marketing, either as a freelancer or as a community owner, check out the link below. I'm going to allow 5 bookings, I think, right now, because I'm traveling a bit, but potentially we'll open more. So yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. And the next video I put out, I think is going to be really interesting. It's going to be about a case study, actually. And so keep an eye out for that, and I will see you guys in the next